Hey guys, welcome to Pregnancy and Postpartum TV. Today we're doing a postnatal yoga class and we're going to include some ab healing and flattening exercises. I have been a little bit stiff with the extra stress of quarantine, so it's going to be an overall feel-good yoga class. This video is one in a series of postnatal yoga and fitness videos that I will continue to add to, so please consider subscribing and hitting the notification bell to get notified every time I put out a new video. I also have lots of free resources for new moms in the description box below, so you can go down and check those out too. Of course, always consult with your doctor before starting this or any new exercise routine. Really listen to your body and only do things that feel safe and right for your body. We're going to start in a really comfortable cross-legged position, and we're going to do a chest opener here. So if you're breastfeeding, this should feel really good. And what we're going to do is in your cross-legged position, you can walk your hands behind you here and activate your core and lift your hips up, and you can stretch open, roll your shoulders back, and feel length in your spine. And take a breath here. And then on an exhale, coming down, and then we'll round out the other way. And again, walking your hands behind and activating your core, pressing your hips up to balance on your knees, and opening up for a really nice chest opener. And exhale, coming down and rounding out, stretching out your upper back. And we'll do that one more time, walking your hands back, pressing up. You're not dropping your head behind, there's length in your spine. And exhale, release, and rounding out your shoulders and your upper back. Good. And inhale, we can sit up tall, and we'll move to all fours, and we'll do some hip circles, so you can have your wrist under your shoulder, knees under your hips, and sort of act as if a pencil is behind you, and you can draw circles with the pencil on the wall behind you, just moving however feels good. Keeping your core activated so your belly's not flopping out. And we'll go the other way. Good. Now we're going to move into dog bird pose, and we can stretch out opposite arm and leg. First, we're going to engage our core, so almost as if our shirt or the top of our pants is hot, and pulling in our lower ab in and up to activate. And then as we lift up, we're going to exhale and stretch our arm and our leg forward. You can flex your foot and then reach your fingertips and your heel away from each other, stretching. And we'll take a breath here. And coming down. And then exhale, engage your core again and lift up. And stretching your fingertips and your heels in opposite direction again. And coming out of the pose, and then we'll do that a few more times, a little bit faster with your breath. Good. Now we can take one of our legs out to the side for a really nice stretch. And once our foot is out to the side, you can let your hip drop in if that feels good and just stretch it out. You can either stay here, or if you wanted a deeper stretch, you could also come down onto your elbows to stretch here. And we'll take one more breath here. And if you're on your elbows, you can come back up to your hands and exhale, bringing that leg in, and we can stretch it out on the other side. And coming back up to our hands again, bringing that leg in, and we can tuck our toes and press into our first downward dog. And feel free to take any movement that feels good here. Lift your heels or sway your hips back and forth, waking up the backs of our legs. Spreading your fingers and toes. From here, we can walk our feet forward, taking tiny baby steps all the way to the top of our mat to between our hands, and we'll hang at the bottom and then roll up one vertebra at a time. And as our head comes up, we can bring our hands to prayer at heart center, and inhale, bringing our arms out to the sides and up, looking up at our thumbs, and then exhale, folding all the way forward and releasing our hands to the ground. You can bend your knees, plant your hands, and then step back into an all fours position. We can tuck our toes and then press into downward dog. We'll bring our feet together, and then you can lift one of your feet behind you and stretch it back. And we'll bring it in and stretch the other heel, energy shooting out of your heel. Hips are still facing towards the ground. And bringing that leg down. We'll come back on to all fours. We'll push up here and then very carefully walk our knees back and lower down, and we'll just press up for a cobra. And coming back down, pressing back up on to hands and knees, all fours, tucking your feet and pressing into downward dog. Take a breath here. And then tiny little steps all the way forward again. Hanging at the bottom and then rolling up one vertebra at a time. Beautiful. We'll bring our hands to heart center, and we're going to open up for triangle. So stepping your foot back, and we'll bring our arms out to the side, reach to the side, drop your hand in front of your leg, and then reaching up, core is engaged. And on your next exhale, engage your core and lift back up to an upright position. And then now we're going to take our hips, turn to the side, and move into warrior one. So bending our front knee, back leg is straight, and inhale up, core is engaged. We'll take one more breath here. We're going to bring our hands down, shorten our stance a little bit, and straighten both legs. We'll place our hands on our hips, and we can inhale, look up slightly, and exhale with a lengthened spine, fold forward into pyramid pose. You can place your hands on your legs, or if you can reach and touch the ground, you can do that as well. And we can take our hands back up to our hips, and with a lengthened spine, come all the way up, and we can step our feet in, and we're going to do a modified dancer's pose. And so you can find your balance on one foot and bend the other one here for a nice quad stretch. And we can take our hand up in front of us, and we're going to activate our core and then just tip slightly forward. If you wanted to do the full dancer's pose and you don't have diastasis recti, you can, but if you are newly postpartum and protecting your core, then you can just stay here and breathe. Beautiful. And we'll release the pose, and we're going to turn around to the other side. So we will open up for triangle on the other side, inhaling, arms out and reaching towards the side of your mat, and moving your hands into triangle position, activating your core, and breathe. And when you're ready, coming out of the posture, coming back up, we'll turn our hips to the other side of the mat and move into warrior one, bending our front knee and inhaling our arms up and breathing. And inhale up. We'll take our hands back to our hips and inhale over our leg for a pyramid stretch. And inhale, coming back up, and we'll move into dancer's pose on the other side. So finding your balance, spreading your toes on the other foot, grabbing your ankle with your hand, and your arm points up to the top corner of the room, and then just tip forward, A little bit core is activated. And coming back up to a standing position, we're going to move into half moon. So we can bring our feet together, our big toe mounds are together, heels are slightly apart, and inhale our arms up. And traditionally in yoga, we exhale on the way down and inhale on the way back, but we're going to do it opposite to protect our core and really use our core muscles. So we're going to inhale down and then exhale, activate, bringing those core muscles together, using our core to pull us back up with an exhale. Good. We'll do it again on that side. And I'll let you go at your own pace. And last one. And we'll move to the other side. Last one. Excellent job. Now we're going to do another balance, which again is great for our core muscles and stabilization. So we're going to exhale, and you can lift your knee up. And if you wanted to, you can grab your toe and do the full pose, but I'm going to do it half pose, grabbing our knee, and using our stabilization, we're going to bring our knee out to the side, activating our core. And we'll take a couple of breaths here. Beautiful. And we'll bring it in again, keeping our body as steady as possible. And release. Shake it out, and we'll do it on the other side. And without moving our core, opening up our knee to the side. Bringing it back in, beautiful, and release down. Next, we'll move into chair pose, so you can take your feet hip width distance apart, and as if you're sitting back in a chair, we will exhale and slightly looking up between your hands, weight is in your heels, activating your core, and breathe. And inhale, coming up, we'll bring our hands to our hips. And we're going to do about a half chair. We're going to do some pelvic tilts. So if you picture that your pelvis is a bowl, we're going to tip our bowl forward this way, and we're going to use our core and tip it back the other way. And tip it forward and back, using your core. And we'll do one more, and release. Perfect. Now we're going to come down to a seated position. We're going to move into butterfly position. We can let our legs flop open and relax. It doesn't matter where they are or how far they are or aren't coming down. And we'll take a breath here. And now we're going to do some kegels in this pose. So we can actually, as we imagine a blueberry at the opening of our vagina, we can suck it up, and we're also going to pick up our legs and we can provide a little bit of tension there. And so we are contracting and we're holding 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and release. We'll take a breath, let it all flop open, fully relax, and we'll do that again. Lifting our knees, we can put some pressure on our elbows and kegel. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and release down, relax, take a breath. And we'll do that one more time. Kegel. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and fully release. Take a breath. Good. Now we will bring our legs together. We're going to come into a tabletop position. So your feet, your knees are going to go over top of your feet. You can walk your hands behind you and then exhale up, and we're going to make a tabletop with our body. It doesn't matter if it doesn't come all the way up. It's going to depend on your shoulder flexibility, and lengthen your spine so your head isn't just flopping back. And we'll take a few breaths here. And one more breath. And release down. Excellent. Now we're going to move into a wide-legged forward fold, so we can bring our feet apart. Again, it doesn't matter how far your legs are apart, just as much as gives you a nice stretch, but that you're not in pain. We're going to start with our feet flexed and our toes pointing up towards the ceiling. Give yourself a little bit of a boost to get length in your spine, and you can either stay here, or if you wanted to get a deeper stretch, you can lean forward and stretch forward. And breathe. Excellent. We can walk our hands back in. And now we're actually going to point our feet because it gives a little bit of a different stretch. And if you wanted to get a little bit further into the pose, you can. We're going to shift our hips slightly to the side. Inhale our arms up and fold over our leg to the side. Again, it doesn't matter how far you're going, just as far as is a stretch, but it's not painful at all. And engaging your core and coming up. And you can shift your hips slightly to the other side. Inhale up and exhale, folding over this leg. And breathe. Beautiful. And engaging your core and coming back up to a centered position. You can release the pose and carefully bring your foot in and slowly bending your legs and bringing them. I'm going to turn to the side here. We're going to do a seated figure 4 stretch, or if you really love pigeon pose, you can do pigeon pose as sort of a more advanced stretch, but it's going to stretch out. If you have any lingering sciatica, this can help. And so exhale, we'll cross one ankle over top of your knee, and can lengthen your spine, hands are behind you, and if you want a deeper stretch, you just walk that bottom foot in for a deeper stretch, and sitting up tall and breathe. You can focus on relaxing through your hips. And one more breath here. And you can walk your foot out a little bit, and we'll switch to the other side, always activating your core to keep it safe before you lift your leg up, and then walking that foot up to the point that feels like a good stretch for you. If you find you're relaxing into the pose, you can always continue to walk that foot up to keep getting a deeper stretch if you find that you're not getting the stretch that you need. Good. And when you're ready, you can release out of the pose, walking that foot forward. And we're going to come onto our stomach. So getting down safely. And we're going to take our arm here, this arm, in a cactus pose like this, and we can place it down on the ground. We're going to roll over for a really deep but a really nice shoulder and chest opener. And so when you're on your stomach here, you've got this hand in cactus, you're going to put this hand and then just very gently roll over onto your side. You can take this top leg, place it behind you like a kickstand, and then just roll as far as feels good. So it's not painful, but you're getting a really nice shoulder and chest opening stretch there. Again, really nice if you're breastfeeding and you're hunched over all the time. And breathe. Perfect. And then we're going to roll to the other side. So putting this hand in cactus pose, and we can take our top leg and put it behind us as a kickstand, and then only pressing as far as feels good for a nice shoulder opening position. Core continues to be engaged. And when you're ready, slowly rolling out of the position, and we'll press up onto all fours. And now we're going to do a back strengthening exercise to prevent any back pain. And so we are going to open up our arm as if we had a wing using our back muscles, so similar to the muscles that we were using when we were sitting in butterfly pose, and we'll do 10 of these. Last one, and we'll press into child's pose before we do the other side. And coming back up and preparing for the other side, and 10 on this side. Activating your back and your core. Last one, and this time we'll press into another downward dog and breathe. Come back down onto your knees, and we'll take our elbows down to the ground. Our thumbs can be together, and we can engage our core, but we're going to do an upper back stretch in sort of a modified Sphinx pose. And so our elbows are pressing down and back towards our knees. Our core is engaged. Good, and we'll release, come back up onto our hands. We'll thread the needle so we can take our hand through and thread it, and stretching out our backs and our shoulders. If it feels good, you can take that hand and stretch it here. And we'll move back to the other side, placing that hand in front of your face, pressing back up onto all fours, taking your other hand, threading it through, weight goes onto your shoulder, and stretching and thread the needle pose. And taking that top hand, placing it in front of your face, pressing onto all fours. And before we move on to our backs, we're going to do a couple cat and cow stretches here. So stretching out your back this way and engaging your core, but slightly arching your back and looking up and just moving back and forth, however feels good to you. And we'll do a couple more. Good. And we can move safely onto our back. So we'll get down on our sides, and then we can roll onto our backs. And we're going to start with some pelvic tilts. And so we can spread our toes, plant our feet, and on an exhale, we're going to tuck our hips up and pelvic tilt this way, and then we're going to release the other way. So using your core, bringing those muscles in and together, and release. Release. And one more time. And release. This time we'll push all the way up into bridge. And if you can roll your shoulders under, if that's comfortable for you. And from here, we're going to do some fast kegels to work on our fast twitch muscles, which helps prevent leaking when you sneeze or jump. And so we are going to see for 10 seconds how many kegels we can do in and out as fast as possible. And go. And we will release down, so release out of your bridge, rolling out, fully relax your pelvic floor, take a breath. And we'll go up again, pressing into your feet and up into bridge, and we'll do that one more time. And in 10 seconds, the most amount of kegels you can do as fast as you can, and go. And good, and fully release down, rolling down, and take a relaxing breath. Good. So now we're going to do some heel slides. And so if you have diastasis recti, we want to exhale and engage, and we want to do diaphragmatic breathing, breathing into your ribs. I will link either in the cards up there or in the description box below to a video on how to breathe to do exercises safely. But we're going to exhale, engage our core, and then slide our heel out straight and bring it back in. So you'll know that your transversus abdominis, your inner core muscles, are engaged if you engage them and you go to pick up your leg. Your stomach muscles shouldn't move. They should already be engaged. But for example, if you relax and then you go to pick up your leg, you feel them engage. They should already be engaged, and that's how you know if you're activating correctly. So we'll do another one. Engage and heel slide. And we'll do a few on this side. And we can switch to the other side. So take a breath, relax, and engage, and other side. And last one on this side. Good. So we'll exhale and bring our knees in, and you can either stay here, or if it feels good, you can take your legs up and either grab the outsides of your foot or grab your big toe for happy baby pose. Or if there's another pose that you just feel you need to get in before your practice is done today, now would be a good time to do whatever pose you feel you need or that feels good. If you're in happy baby or you have your knees together, you can rock back and forth. Release out of the pose. Give yourself a little bit of a hug. Give your knees a hug. And then we'll flop out for Shavasana. So we can contract before you lengthen out your legs. You can let your toes flop out and roll your shoulders underneath, palms up. And we'll take a couple of deep breaths here to release. Inhale in. And release, relax. And once more. And fully relaxing your body, feeling heavy on the ground. Easy breaths, just watching your breath. You can either stay here in Shavasana and keep relaxing, or if you're ready, you can wiggle your fingers and toes, bringing your feet together and your hands together above your head. Stretch them apart. You can arch your back for a nice stretch. And then bringing your arms down, you can roll over onto one side, bending your knees and pushing up to a seated position. Namaste. Thank you so much for sharing your practice with me today. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up, share with someone who you think you would like it, and make sure that you subscribe and hit the notification bell to get notified every time I put out a new video. I also have free resources, so I have a complete guide to heal your diastasis recti, how I healed my 4-finger diastasis recti gap. I'll put that into the description box. I also have a free weight management course as a dietitian and a bariatric educator that I put together. And I have a monthly postpartum workout plan, so it gives a new video every day on a calendar, and so you can go check that out as well. Thank you so much again. I know there is a lot of videos out there, so I'm so honored that you chose to do yoga with me today. If you do have any questions, feel free to put them in the comments below, and I hope to see you in the next video.